Welcome back to Honest Blue Radio, where we talk about the real stuff, the raw experiences that often get swept under the rug in the workplace. And today we're diving deep into a topic that affects so many dedicated professionals: workplace abuse and the brutal reality of being underappreciated, especially in fields like education. Jay, I know this is a subject that hits incredibly close to home for you.
Betsy, it's not just close, it's the very core of why I even started Honest Blue. I spent 10 years in teaching, a decade of my life pouring everything into students, developing courses, trying to make a difference. And what did I get in return? A constant feeling of being undervalued, overworked, and frankly, abused by the very system that should have supported me.
That's a powerful statement, and I think so many people, not just teachers, can relate to that feeling of giving your all and then being met with disrespect. Can you tell us a bit more about what that looked like day to day for you?
Absolutely. It started, honestly, with the administrative bullying. It felt like I was constantly walking on eggshells. I'd be called down to the principal's office, dragged in, just because a student, any student, said something to the principal about me. It didn't matter if it was a lie, if it was fabricated, if it was just a kid making something up to get out of trouble. My word, my 10 years of dedication, it meant nothing against a student's unverified complaint.
So basically, you were guilty until proven innocent, and even then the suspicion lingered? That sounds incredibly demoralizing. How do you even build trust or a sense of security when that's hanging over your head?
Exactly. It creates an environment of fear. You start second guessing every interaction. You wonder, is this going to be the thing that gets me called in again? And it wasn't just the false accusations. It was the feeling of being completely unsupported in every other aspect of the job, too. I was a technology teacher, right? That sounds pretty modern, pretty well funded, you'd think.
One would definitely assume, especially with the high tuition costs many private schools charge. Parents are paying top dollar for that tech-savvy education.
Precisely. They were charging parents $15,000 a year for their kids to attend, promising this cutting edge education. And here I was, creating multiple courses from scratch, designing the curriculum, building the lessons, all with zero support for computer applications. My classrooms were constantly overcrowded, meaning I couldn't even give individualized attention when the tech was glitching or when a student needed specific help. It was a joke, honestly.
So they're raking in this huge amount of money from tuition, advertising a premium product, and then relying on you to do all the heavy lifting, the actual creation of that product, without providing the basic tools or resources. That's not just frustrating, it's a huge breach of trust, both for you and for the parents.
It truly is. It felt like I was constantly being taken advantage of. And here's the kicker. I'm generally a nice guy, you know? I'm accommodating, I want to help, I want to make things work. So I'd step up, I'd do the extra work, I'd create the courses, I'd stay late. But the moment I got upset, the moment I pushed back, or even just showed a hint of frustration at the impossible situation, I was suddenly the problem.
The classic nice guy trap. You're praised for being flexible and agreeable, but if you ever assert yourself or express a valid grievance, suddenly your personality is an issue. It's a way to deflect from their own shortcomings, isn't it?
Exactly. The administrators, the ones who didn't create anything, who didn't build a single lesson or curriculum, they were never in the wrong. They just dictated. They became tyrants, honestly. It felt like their whole job was to make our lives harder, not to support the educational mission.
And this kind of top-down dictatorial management, it filters down to every aspect of your day, doesn't it? Even something as mundane as meetings.
Oh, don't even get me started on the meetings, Betsy. We'd have these mandatory meetings after school, after a full day of teaching, dealing with students, dealing with all the other pressures. Meetings that, as we all know, could have just been an email. Seriously, we all know how to read. But no, we'd have to stay late, sitting there just wanting to go home and rest.
And then someone invariably asks a question that prolongs it unnecessarily.
Every single time, someone would ask some incredibly dumb question at the very end, extending the meeting by another 15, 20 minutes. It was like they reveled in our misery. We'd worked all day, our brains were fried, we had families waiting, lives to live, and they just didn't care. It was a complete disregard for our time and our well-being.
It's not just about the extra time, is it? It's about that feeling of being completely disrespected, that your time isn't valuable, that you're just a cog in their machine. And speaking of value, let's talk about compensation, because that's another huge piece of this puzzle for teachers.
Oh, compensation, or lack thereof. After 10 years of teaching, after getting my college degree, passing all the certification tests, pouring my heart and soul into this profession, I was barely making anything. We're talking around $27,000 a year. $27,000 for educating the next generation, for constantly innovating, for dealing with all the pressures I just mentioned.
That's an incredibly low wage, especially for someone with your experience and qualifications. It's almost insulting when you consider the societal importance of teachers and the cost of living in many areas. How do you even sustain a life, let alone build a future, on that kind of salary?
You don't, Betsy. You honestly don't. I was broke. After 10 years, after all that effort, all that sacrifice, I was broke. It's a slap in the face. You dedicate yourself to a noble profession, you jump through all the hoops, get the education, and then you're treated like garbage by parents, by administrators, and sometimes even by students who are emboldened by the lack of support from above. It's a completely unsustainable model, and it's why so many talented teachers are leaving the profession in droves.
It's a tragedy, truly, and the frustrating part is, society outwardly praises teachers, talks about their importance, but then the actual support, the actual compensation, is completely misaligned with that rhetoric. And I know your journey didn't end there, you even experienced challenges outside of full-time employment, right?
It got even wilder. After leaving that full-time position, I tried substitute teaching, just to make ends meet, to keep some money coming in. And even there, the same patterns of disrespect and ridiculous expectations followed. I got fired from substitute jobs because I had a TikTok account, a personal TikTok account.
Wait, seriously, your personal social media outside of school hours?
Seriously, I never gave out my name, never connected it to my teaching, nothing. But kids, being kids, they found it. And they found one thing, one tiny thing they deemed wrong with me, probably something utterly innocuous, and reported it. And just like that, I was fired. No questions, no understanding, just you're out. It felt like they were looking for any excuse to get rid of anyone who wasn't perfectly robotic and compliant.
That's an extreme invasion of privacy and a shocking lack of common sense, to be honest. It sounds like they have absolutely no regard for the fact that teachers are human beings with lives outside the classroom. It's this pervasive culture of control and unreasonable expectations, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And after all of that, after 10 years of trying to make a difference, after being broke, after being treated like garbage and then fired over a TikTok, I realized I had nothing left. That's why I created Honest Blue Free in the App Store and Honest Blue Radio. It was literally all I had left for money. But more importantly, it was all I had left for hope. I realized my story isn't unique. So many people, whether they're teachers or not, are getting abused in their workplaces, feeling unheard, feeling frustrated.
And that's the beauty of Honest Blue, isn't it? It's about giving a voice to those frustrations, to those experiences that are often dismissed or hidden. It's creating a community where people can share their stories, find solidarity, and hopefully find solutions or at least validation.
Exactly. It's a platform for honesty. It's for anyone who's ever felt like they're being taken advantage of, like their hard work isn't recognized, or like they're being silenced. Whether you're a teacher, an office worker, a retail employee, whatever your field, if you're experiencing abuse in the workplace, if you're underpaid and overworked, if you're dealing with tyrannical bosses, Honest Blue is for you. It's about empowering people to speak up, to share their truth, and to realize they're not alone.
And that sense of not being alone, of having a shared experience, is so incredibly powerful. It can turn individual frustration into collective strength. Jay, your journey is a testament to resilience and to turning personal pain into a powerful platform for change. I really encourage everyone listening to check out Honest Blue Free in the App Store and tune into Honest Blue Radio for more of these candid conversations.
Thank you, Betsy. It's been a tough road, but knowing that Honest Blue can make a difference, that it can give someone the courage to speak up or just feel understood, that makes it all worth it. Let's keep these conversations going, because change starts with honest dialogue.
Absolutely. And that's all for today's episode of Honest Blue Radio. Remember, your voice matters. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We'll catch you next time.